we float into services, we've been making our way through a series of musical meditations found on page 6 and page 7 of our Bach song. We're at the base of page 7. The words come from the Book of Lamentations and really focus on what this day is. Today may you strengthen us. Today may you bless us. Today may you exalt us. Today may you grant us well-being. Today may you inscribe us for a good life. Today may you hear our cry. Today may you sustain us in righteousness. To all of these things, we say Amen, Amen, and Amen. Yom Hamseinu. So it's with the words of the Book of Lamentations that I want to welcome you all here into the Shtiebel this evening. Hayom Tamseinu. Today, may you strengthen us. Today, may we strengthen each other through prayer and through community, through song and through celebration. Today is the culmination of the Yamim Noraim, the days of awe. And sure, there is a tradition, a strong tradition in our people's storytelling, that this day is awesome and full of dread. But there's an equally strong tradition that says this day is awesome, full of joy, full of opportunity, and full of promise. And it is that which we hope to embrace over the next 25 hours together. Whether you're with us just this evening or whether you're with us through all of our services of Yom Kippur. For those that are in the Shtiebel for the very first time, some necessary housekeeping. If you need to step out of the room for some fresh air, the courtyard is your closest vantage point. If you need to step out of the room for something else, I refer you to my right, no, that's my left, and my right. And if things get really busy because you had a large meal before coming here, there's a third bathroom out the back. But also, there are through those spaces rooms where you can sit, whether it be in our library or in a lounge. If you feel that you want to step out at any point, just take a few moments for yourself. That's what those spaces are there for. That's what the Shtiebel is about, creating spaces for us to make with and do with as we need, when we need. With those logistics covered, and that melodic meditation carrying us into prayer, I want to invite you to turn with us to page 3 as we lean on some words that are even older than ours, as I say, Womajika and Momajeka. As we join our voices together to celebrate our people's tradition, so too do we acknowledge the traditional owners and first inhabitants of the land on which we gather, the Wurundjeri people and the Burong people of the East Kulin Nation. We pay our respect to their elders, past, present, and evolving, for they hold the memories, traditions, cultures, and hopes of First Nations people across the land. May our shared faith in the future guide us towards a time when, united in spirit and purpose, we can join together under the same sky and learn from the wisdom woven into the fabric of this sacred land. May we look forward to a time where we can all sit down together as brothers, as sisters, as family, as friends, but most importantly, as equals. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet, achim gam yachad.
Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet, achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet, achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet, achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet, achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet, achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet, achim gam yachad.
As we turn forward to page 10, a word about our machzor. Our machzor is a collection of thoughts and prayers gifted to us by tradition and punctuated by some interpretations and some commentaries that we've crafted. Unless otherwise noted, the grey boxes are original works by Temi and I with an extraordinary amount of help from our friend ChatGPT. I say it in all seriousness because we live in a changing world, and how we embrace the future while living in the present and holding firmly on the past is something that defines everything that we do here at the Shtiebel. Yom Kippur, or Neilah service particularly, traditionally starts with the rabbi or the chazan standing before an open ark, making a declaration on behalf of community. It's the text found in front of you on page 10, entitled Hineni. We're going to rise in a few moments, and Marshall is going to honor tradition by offering it on our behalf. But after that, we're going to continue together in the communal reading, written for this occasion in the plural. Please rise.
Hineni ehanim imas ונרעש ונפחד מפחד יושב תהילות ישראל. באתי לעמוד ולחנן לפניך על עמך ישראל, אשר סלחוני והפלתי שאיני כדאי והגון לך.
Hinenu. Here we stand as one community, united in purpose on the sacred day of Yom Kippur. Here we are, ready to open our hearts and our souls to seek forgiveness, to mend our ways and to draw closer to you. Just as our ancestors stood before you in reverence, so do we, their descendants, stand before you now. As a community, we acknowledge our faults and our failings, and we humbly seek your guidance and forgiveness. On this day of atonement, may our prayers rise like incense, and may our repentance be sincere and true. Together we commit to tshuva, to turning our hearts and to striving for a life of righteousness and compassion. May our collective plea for forgiveness be accepted, and may you inscribe us in the book of life for a year of blessing.
ברוך אתה שומע תפילה.
In the midst of the Holiness Code, in the middle of the book of Leviticus, we are told that the Eternal One spoke to Moses, saying, "Mark the 10th day on this 7th month. It shall be of a day of atonement. It shall be a sacred occasion for you. You shall practice self-denial, and you shall bring an offering of fire before the Eternal. You should do no work throughout the day, for it is a day of atonement."
וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, מסור לחודש השביעי הזה יום הכיפורים הוא, מקרא קודש יהיה לכם, והניתם את נפשותיכם והקרבתם משת לאדוני.
On this sacred occasion, may we enter this sacred space with humility, casting aside the burdens of the past year and opening ourselves to the possibility of growth and transformation. May our prayers of reflections lead us towards greater compassion, understanding, and love for one another. On the foot of page 11. בישיבה שמעלה, בישיבה של מטה. על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם האב הנבנים. By the authority of the heavenly court and by the authority of the earthly court, with the permission of God, the ever-present, and with the permission of this congregation, we who have ourselves transgressed declare it lawful to pray with others who have wronged either God or human beings. As we undress the Torah, we mirror our own quest to strip away the layers that shield us from truth, authenticity, and divine connection. It serves as a visual metaphor of the essence of Yom Kippur. It reminds us to shed the pretense, masks, and defenses we often wear throughout the year. We stand before the divine in our raw, unadorned truth, acknowledging our imperfections and yearning for a deeper relationship with ourselves. The hauntingly beautiful strains of Kol Nidre now call us to attention. This ancient and hallowed prayer with origins surrounded in mists of time hold for us a unique place in our hearts and in the tapestry of Jewish tradition. Kol Nidre is not a prayer seeking forgiveness for specific sins, but rather a legal formula, an annulment of vows recited 3 times, symbolic of past, present, and future. It is a solemn contract, a declaration that we make with the divine, acknowledging our human fallibility, recognizing that we may have made promises and commitments we have been unable to fulfill. In the deep and resonant tones of Kol Nidre, we're invited to release ourselves from the weight of unfulfilled vows, to unburden our souls and to stand before the divine with honesty and openness. Let us take a moment to reflect on our vows and our commitments, those we have kept, and those we have broken, those made to ourselves, and those made to others, as we offer the words of Kol Nidre on page 14.
Kol nidre ve'esarei v'charamei ve'konamei ve'kinuyei ve'kinusei ushevu Tindarna Kodehi Shtabana Kodeharimna Vetasarna Nafshatana Miyom Kippurim Ze Ad Yom Kippurim Haba Shvikin Sheriti Betenino Tali La Shediri Belakayamin Idrana
All vows, bonds, devotions, promises, obligations, penalties, and oaths, wherewith we have vowed, sworn, devoted, and bound ourselves, from this day of atonement to the next day of atonement, may it come to us for good. All these we repent us of them. They shall be absolved, released, annulled, made void, and of no effect. They shall not be binding, nor shall they have any power. Our vows shall not be vows. Our bonds shall not be bonds. Our oaths shall not be oaths.
Kol nidre ve'esarei v'charamei ve'konamei ve'chinuyei ve'kinusei ushavut Yom Kippurim Ad Yom Kippurim haba Metelin
As generations before us have done, we offer these words in the hope and perhaps even in the belief that the words of the book of Numbers will ring true for us as they have rung true for generations before us, where we are told that all shall be forgiven, the whole community of Israel and the stranger who lives amongst them, for all in the community have gone astray.
ונסלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגר גם מתוכם כי לכל העם בשגגה.
Please forgive the iniquity of this people with your great kindness, as you have forgiven this people since we were redeemed from Egypt. This is what Moses cried out, and he was responded, I will forgive as you have asked.
סלח נא לבון העם הזה כגדול עשתך וכאשר נסעת מהעם הזה ממצרים ועד הנה ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך.
please be seated. So I invite you to turn with me forward to page 28. I will remind all those that are present that over the next 25 hours there is a bit of standing. And if circumstance or situation doesn't allow you to stand with us, then please know that this community totally understands. And please know that this rabbi believes that anything beyond this community certainly does understand. I'm just not sure what's beyond. It's a longer question than I can answer over 25 hours. I've invited you to turn forward with me to Kaddish Yatom. For some, it might seem as an abrupt transition to move out of the evening prayers of Kol Nidrei to the prayers of remembrance. But the prayers of remembrance are gifted to us to challenge us to linger for a little longer at the key moments in life. To think about those who we've loved and who we've lost. And who, while physically gone, continue to impact our every single day as we live our lives as they would have lived on their very best days, or at least we try to. Mourning, my teacher, Rabbi Sandy Reagan's teachers, is the price we pay for having the courage to love others. Even in grief, we know that the wonder of human life is too complex and too magnificent to be memorialized in endless pain. The gifts of spirit our loved ones gave us cannot be measured nor weighed, nor can they be lost or even tarnished by time. Even in our darkest hours, we know that some of their light and some of their warmth will always be with us, bringing comfort and courage and in the fullness of time, healing and peace. We will be offering a full Yizkor service tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. And as such, we'll use this Kaddish Yatom as a moment for reflecting on the remembrances of this past year. And so as has become our way at the Shtiebel, I'd like to preface these words of memory and celebration by inviting anyone in the room this evening who is observing a period of Shiva, the first 7 days since they've lost someone dear to them, to please stand with me. We then extend our circle of remembrance, circles of righteousness, Maglet Tzedek, out a little further, as we think of those amongst us who are still observing the period of Shloshim, 30 days since they've lost a loved one. If that is the space that you occupy now, then I invite you to stand with me in remembrance. We then extend our circle of remembrance out further, thinking of those who we've loved and lost in the last 12 months, but whose Yotzeit, the anniversary of their passing, has not yet arrived. If you've lost someone dear to you in the last 12 months, then I invite you to rise now with us in remembrance. And then we extend out even further, thinking about the weight of memory, the power of love, and the importance of difficult anniversaries. And so if at this season, between the periods of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, you're remembering the anniversaries, the Yotzeit of a loved one, then I invite you to please rise with us. May the one who comforted the mourners in the gates of Jerusalem bring comfort to all of those who mourn and who remember. If it is your custom, then I invite you to stand in support of the mourners as we offer the words of Kaddish Yatom, the Mourners Kaddish on page 29. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעמד דברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ועולמי עלמיה, יפרח וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומן ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו, לעילם מכל ברכתה ושרתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמילן ואמר ואמרו אמן. וישלם רבנו שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen. The foot of that same page. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, Remain standing and turn the page for the call to prayer.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Amen.
Please be seated. Continue on the foot of that same page, page 30, with the evening prayer.
Baruch Adonai, Baruch Adonai, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Ahavat Olam on the top of page 32.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amhata Torah Mitzvot Hukim Mishpatim Otanu Limaeta Hakel Adonai Eloheinu B'shoveinu Ekumeinu Nasiach Bechukecha V'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem hayenu ve'oret yameinu uvehem negenu mahalayla ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בשבתך בביתך וללכתך לדרך ולשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ועשו להם ציצית על כנפיהם לתורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בצל תפארת והיה לכם לציצית ראיתם אותו וספרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Emet. It's a simple word, 3 basic letters, but there's something unusual about these letters. They are, for those who aren't familiar with the alphabet, the first, the middle, and the last letter of the alphabet. Aleph, Mem, and Tav. And they come together to spell a word that means truth. This understanding that truth is not a partial thing. Truth is something that is complete. It is whole. It often has more than one side of the story to tell. For at least 2,000 years of recorded history, our people have followed the words of the Shema and the paragraphs that followed it, which we just recited, by saying, Adonai Elohechem Emet. The eternal is true. That truth is something we believe, because for some of us, we've been privileged enough to feel it. For others, we've been able to learn it from those that have come before us. And for others still, we remember it from Egypt or Sinai, but some other point along our people's dreaming. Truth is something from the past, something that resides in the present, and it's something that we hope will be at the core of the future. That's why our prayer of truth, our Geulah, our redemption song, is also a prayer of reconciliation, bringing together ancient messages, even older languages, and a very present hope. Nara Burafera. From the words of the Geulah, we turn to page 36 and find before us the words of Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu appears in every evening service. If Mari Varavim is the evening prayer, then Hashkivenu is the bedtime prayer. Mari Varavim talks about the celestial sky and the moon, the stars. Hashkivenu talks about something far more simple. The pillow. This idea that we might want to put our head down to rest at the end of a day. If we're lucky enough, be privileged the opportunity to wake up the next morning restored, renewed. It's a prayer we offer every single day, but it's a prayer which is even more fitting on this day, when the idea of renewal and restoration takes us primacy in our hearts and in our minds. If you scan down through the page, you'll find a verse towards the end that's indented, where we ask that our coming and our going be guarded now and forevermore. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who guards us now and forever. Baruch atah Adonai shomei amo Yisrael le'ad. I was asked 2 questions this week that made me smile. I had lots of occasions this week to smile. It's pretty hard not to smile when you get to spend your week with these 2 beautiful people, thinking about the services that we'd like to have, believing that if we create services that we find meaningful, there might be other people in the room who find them equally meaningful. But while I was smiling most of the week, there were actually 2 specific conversations that made me smile, stopped me in my thoughts and brought a smile to my face. The one came very early in the week, where while out shopping, I bumped into a fellow rabbi in town. Someone I've known for a long time. He, in younger years, he had a relationship with my family. He was close with my father for some time. And he said, Gersh, very big personality. We were in the line of Glicks. Gersh, what are you preaching about on Yom Kippur? And I smiled and I said, It's an interesting question with a very complicated answer. Proceeded to share some of the answer, which I'll come back to in a moment. But it made me smile as I recognized how fortunate I am. The other question came on Friday night. I'll look down to not embarrass the person who asked it, but it made me smile so much. Gosh, is there going to be an appeal at Kol Nidre? Meaning, we're going to ask people to open up their wallets on the Day of Atonement just when they're feeling guilty about all the things they've done wrong. And I smiled in response to that too. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to open your wallets. That'll wait till later in the week. Is there going to be an appeal? And what are you going to be preaching about? Two questions that made me smile this week. Because the answer is I'm not going to be preaching. I'm going to try my best throughout the next 25 hours, 24 and a half hours now, to teach the wisdom of our tradition, because it is far more eloquent than I'll ever be. And is there going to be an appeal? Oh my gosh, there's going to be an appeal. But the appeal is not coming from me. It's coming from generations before me. In part, hopefully it'll come through me, but it's certainly coming from generations before me that have been challenging us to use this opportunity and this gift. Yes, this is the end of the Yamim Noraim, the days of awe. But Yir'ah, as many of you have heard me teach before, is one of those words that translates perfectly from Hebrew into English. Awe. Yes, awe can be awful. But awe can also be awesome. And sometimes it's just the choice that we make about which path we want to go down, where we want to focus ourselves, our energies, and our thoughts. So in a few moments, we're going to move into the Amidah. The Amidah contains within it so much of the weighty liturgy of the season. In the morning, the Unatana Tokef, a prayer that says on Rosh Hashanah, it is written on Yom Kippur, is it sealed. These are the things that we're meant to be thinking about. And what is my commentary? My commentary is found on page 45. What is it that this rabbi is going to be teaching about? What is it that this rabbi is preaching to the extent that he preaches? What is it that I'm appealing for? What is it that this world needs? That's the pursuit of holiness. You don't need me to tell you what I think about Israel. You don't need me to tell you what I think about the environment. You don't need me to tell you how you should vote in a referendum. You don't need me to tell you about what's happening in the Ukraine or in China. What you need is to be aware of these things and more. What you need is to slow yourself down long enough so you hear what's happening around you, and so you see it, and so you respond to it in the way that you see fit. Because if each of us can do that, then the world will be better. It'll be different, but it'll be better. In Torah, we are told, you should be holy, for I am holy. Holiness is not an elusive destination, but a lifelong pursuit. A continuous striving to align our lives with the sacred, divine presence that surrounds us. Holiness is found in ordinary moments of our lives, acts of kindness, moments of empathy, and choices we make each day. It is not reserved for the mountaintop experiences alone, but it is woven into the fabric of our existence. To pursue holiness is to cultivate a heart of compassion, a spirit of humility, and a commitment to justice. It is to recognize the sacredness in each person we encounter, and if we can, to see the divine spark in their eyes. Holiness calls us to be mindful of our words, to use them to uplift and to heal, rather than to wound or divide. It urges us to be stewards of the earth, for the earth itself is a manifestation of the divine. As we are about to stand, perhaps only metaphorically, but perhaps more, before the Creator of all, let us contemplate the way we can infuse our lives with holiness. Let us seek forgiveness for the times we have fallen short, and let us recommit ourselves to paths of righteousness. Is there going to be an appeal this Kol Nidre? Yeah. A really sincere, honest appeal for each of us, regardless of our relationship with the divine, to try and be a little bit more holy. What am I going to preach about this Kol Nidre? No, I'm not going to preach about anything. But I'm going to teach you that in Leviticus, we were commanded to be holy because the eternal is holy. And if we, in a world that seems to be going increasingly insane, can hold our course, then we will make a remarkable difference. We rise for the Amidah on page 37. Again, to remind you that as we move through this liturgy, we're staying in the evening liturgy. We're going to be offering the Amidah together as a community, leaving some time for personal, individual prayer as we move through. And if at any time you feel more comfortable being seated, then please do so.
Adonai,
Adonai,
Sefatai Tifta,
Sefatai Tifta, Fiagi,
Tehilatecha,
Tehilatecha,
Adonai,
Adonai,
Sefatai Tifta,
Sefatai Tifta,
Fiagi,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. תורתנו לחיים, וחותנו בספר החיים, למען אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר, מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הצל. מחכה חיים בחסד, וחיים מתים ברחמים רבים, צודק נופים ונופל חורים, ומטיל עשויים, ומקיים אמונתו רגשי אהבה. כתבו חגן גבורו, מלך בימין ומחיה, ומצליח ישועה. ניחמוך ברחמים, זוכר יצורו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמנתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי המתים.
Return forward to page 42.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים יבוא בכל יום יהללוך סלע. קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, בין אלוה מבלעדיך. ככתוב ויקבע אדוני צבאות במשפט, והאל הקדוש יקדש בצדקה. ברוך אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש.
Kudashat Hayom continues on the top of page 46.
אתה בחרתנו מכל המין, אהבת אותנו, רצית בנו, ורוממתנו מכל הלשונות, וקידשתנו במצוותיך, וקרבתנו מלכנו לעבודתך, ושמך גדול והקדוש עלינו קראת. ותיתן לנו אלוהינו באהבה את יום הזיכרון הזה, יום תרועה, מקרא קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים.
Our God and God of our ancestors, may our prayer ascend, arrive and find favor. May they be seen, accepted and heard. May we too be visited and remembered, and those who came before us were recalled, for deliverance, goodness, grace, compassion and mercy, for a life of goodness and peace,
on this day of solemn remembrance.
זוכרנו אדוני אלוהינו כל לטובה ופותנו כל לברכה והושיענו כל לחיים. אלוהינו אלוהי אבותינו קדשנו במצוותיך ותן חלקנו בתורתך שמנו מטובך ושמחנו ישועתך וטהר ליבנו לאהובך באמת. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ מקדש ישראל מלך על כל הארץ מקדש ישראל ביום הזיכרון.
Please be seated. We continue with the Avodah on the top of page 48. Please join me responsively on page 49. We come together in humble gratitude on this sacred days of awe to thank you, eternal source.
For life, both fragile and resilient, for the moments of joy and sorrow, for the lessons learned through struggle, we thank you.
For the strength to face adversity, for the grace to forgive and heal, for the love that binds us as community. We thank you.
For wisdom to seek understanding, for the compassion to lift up the fallen, for the hope that guides us towards a better world. We thank you.
For the gift of this precious time, for the chance to renew our spirits, for the opportunity to connect with you. We thank you.
May our gratitude inspire us to seek goodness and justice, to mend what is broken, and to walk in your ways.
With hearts full of thanks, we gather as one to pray and to reflect on our journey on these sacred days of awe.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'er lehodot.
Blessed the Eternal One, whose name is goodness, and who is worthy of gratitude and thanksgiving. Page 50. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasih Leolam. ספר חיים, ברכה ושלום.
ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה.
ברכה ושלום, ניזכר וניכתב לפניך. אנחנו בכל עמך בית ישראל.
לחיים טובים ולשלום.
ברוך אתה אדוני, עושה השלום. Pause for a few moments of silent personal prayer. Foot of page 52. As we gather on this sacred day, we turn our thoughts inward and prepare to engage in the deeply personal act of introspection and confession. In the quiet of our souls, we seek to cleanse ourselves, to lay bare our imperfections and to stand humbly before our Creator. We recognize that true transformation begins with self-awareness and a willingness to confront our own shortcomings. A personal vidui is a private conversation, perhaps with ourselves, perhaps with the divine. There's an opportunity to express our regrets, acknowledge our missteps, recommit ourselves to a path of righteousness. It's a moment of vulnerability where we cast off the armor of pride and ego and allow ourselves the opportunity to let our genuine selves emerge. We begin the vidui by asking that our prayer is heard. Shema Kolenu. We rise as we turn to page 54. As a community, we come before you, humble and contrite of heart, seeking forgiveness and guidance. Together, we acknowledge the collective transgressions of our people, the wrongs we have committed, knowingly and unknowingly, and the ways in which we have fallen short of your and our own expectations. We have sinned. We have betrayed. We've stolen. We have spoken falsehoods. We've done evil. We've been wicked. Acted willfully. Committed violence. We have supported lies. We've given counsel to evil. We've scorned. We've mocked.
Saranu.
Transgressed. Avinu.
Mashanu.
Cause distress.
Saranu.
We've done wrong.
Rashanu.
Rashanu.
Shichatnu. Tiavnu.
We acknowledge all of these sins together as a collective, the transgressions of our people. And so on the facing page, we say, Al chet shechatanu lefanecha.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'milchama.
For the sins we have committed before you through war.
We confess for the violence and conflict that persist in our world. May we strive for peace and understanding among nations and individuals.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'shmirat Shabbat.
For the sins we have committed before you for not embracing Shabbat.
We confess for the times we have rushed through life without pause. May we better use traditions to connect with that which brings meaning in our lives.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'dibur merusha.
For the sins we have committed before you through wicked speech.
We confess for the words we have used to hurt others. May our speech be a source of kindness, encouragement, and understanding.
For all these things, Eternal One, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'nayim ramot ufroshot.
For the sins we have committed before you with haughty and arrogant eyes.
We confess for our pride and arrogance. May we cultivate humility and recognize the worth in every soul.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'ribu filgan.
For the sins we have committed against you through strife and division.
We confess for the discord that divides communities and nations. May we work toward unity and understanding among all people.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chlei hashimush.
For the sins we have committed before you through the misuse of our powers.
We confess for the misuse of our influence and privilege. May we use our abilities for the greater good.
For all these, Eternal One of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, and grant us atonement.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'tchuna uvtol teshuvah.
For the sins we have committed before you through insincere repentance.
We confess for the times we have asked for forgiveness without genuine remorse. May our repentance be wholehearted and sincere.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'ikshut u'belev maksher.
For the sins we have committed before you, stubbornness and hard-heartedness.
We
We
confess
for our stubbornness and resistance to change. May we be open to growth and transformation.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha Bitvilat sheker.
For the sins we have committed before you through false prayer.
We confess for the times we have prayed without intention. May our prayers be heartfelt and meaningful.
For all these things, Eternal One of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, and grant us atonement. May these confessions inspire us to mend our ways and to work towards a world of justice, compassion, and love. Just as a child turns to a loving parent, we turn to you, beseeching you your forgiveness, guidance, and compassion. We are your children yearning to be heard. Ikoning words draw from a deep well of tradition, a connection to our ancestors who's whispered these same pleas. We acknowledge our imperfections, mistakes and shortcomings that weigh heavily on our hearts. As we prepare to chant these sacred words of Avinu Malkeinu, let them transcend the boundaries of language, culture, and time, reaching the essence of our souls. In this moment of unity, we beseech you to grant us atonement, renewal, and strength. Open the gates of mercy and forgiveness and inscribe us in the book of life.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Hamol Aleinu, Ve'alon Aleinu, Ve'tafenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kali Teper, Ve'cheref Avinu Malkeinu, Kadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kodeinu, Shema Kodeinu, Shema
Please be seated. We turn forward to page 97. Before we offer our Siyum Tefillah, our closing prayers, just a couple of acknowledgements, appreciations, and announcements. I'll start with the acknowledgements and the appreciations, which again is to the two of you for all that you bring to what we do. It is a privilege to daven with you, and I'm sure that's shared by so many in the room with us this evening. So thank you very, very much. Luckily, we have an opportunity to do more of it tomorrow. We'll be beginning at 9:30 in our library. For those who want to come tomorrow morning, we have a text study to kind of warm us up into the day, exploring Unatana Tokef, the history of the liturgy, the prayer, and how it is we arrived to what's found within our Machzor. It's a fascinating journey through the Jewish lived experience, through dispersion, through longing, and into our present time. So if you can join us, you're more than welcome. And if our library is not big enough, we'll move into this space. It's about a 45-minute study session. Shacharit begins at 10:30, and we'll go to about 12:15. Yizkor at 12:30. We're pretty good on time. Only 8 minutes late right now. Yizkor at 12:30, and Yizkor will include an extended candlelighting ritual, allowing each individual to take a moment to remember their loved one or loved ones. It's a new tradition which we hope you'll find as meaningful as we do. Afternoon service, my favorite service, if one can have a favorite Yom Kippur service, and my favorite Tanakh story, if you can have a favorite Tanakh story, the wonderful whimsical tales of Jonah, at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon, and then we gather at 5:45 for Neela, our closing service. If it is not your tradition to attend Neela, if you usually hit the couch and don't leave, I want to challenge you in the same way as I sought to challenge you and appeal to you to pursue holiness through this Yom Kippur and this year ahead. I challenge you to come back to Ne'ilah. If you start something as intentionally as we have, it's worth finishing it properly. And Ne'ilah is a really beautiful service. On the top of page 96 in my Machzor, it says 6:55, because that's what time will be at that page tomorrow, because that's 3 minutes of liturgy, and that shofar is going to be sounded at 6:58 when the fast concludes. And that is the day we have ahead of us. Beyond that, this Friday we're back for Sukkot, because Tishrei just keeps on giving. The month of Tishrei with all of its festivals, that's this Friday evening, and then Simchat Torah the week that follows. But all of those things are in very many communications Tammy and I have sent to you over the last little while, and we hope to see you here. Whatever it is that you're doing over the next 24 hours, 23 hours, I hope it is meaningful, and I hope it is purposeful, and most of all, I hope it is constructive, because that really what this day is about. We bring our prayer to a close with the words of Anne Frank, as found in the Krut Shabbat on the top of page 97. It really is a wonder that I haven't dropped all of my ideals, because they seem so absurd and impossible to carry out. Yet I keep them, because in spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. I do. I simply cannot build my hopes on a foundation of confusion, misery, and death. I see the world gradually being turned into a wilderness. I hear the approaching thunder. I can feel the suffering of millions, and yet if I look up into the heavens, I think that it'll all come out right one of these days. That this cruelty will end, and that peace and tranquility will return again. In the meantime, I must hold on to my ideals, for perhaps the day will come by Yom Hahu when I shall be able to carry them out. So we'll close Kol Nidrei as we will close Ne'ilah with these words of Hayashan. In fact, the way we close each and every one of our services here at the Shtiebel. Words first penned and taught by Rav Kook at the start of the 20th century, speaking to a generation of Jews who thought modernity brought with it the end of their ancient tradition. He said no. What we need to do is to take the old and to make it new. And if we can do that, then it will become holy. Out of his enterprise, a state was born, and his teachings have continued to inspire generations. They are our mission, our mantra, and our anthem. The old will become new, the new will become holy. Hayashan yitchadesh, v'hechadash yitchadesh.